Hello everyone, welcome to the 31st episode of Let's Talk Inclusion. My name is Manobina Chakraborty, founder of I4 Inclusion. Friends, it's 22nd October today, and as we know, October is ADHD Awareness Month too. What is ADHD? Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, is a condition that affects an individual's behavior. Persons with ADHD can seem restless all the time. They may have challenges in concentrating, and they always act on impulse. Symptoms of ADHD tend to be noticed at an early age and may become more noticeable when a child's circumstances change, such as when they start school. Most cases are diagnosed when children are 6 to 12 years old. Although the symptoms of ADHD normally improve with age, many adults who were diagnosed with this condition as a child continue to have issues. Many kids go through periods of restlessness or inattention. This is quite common though, and does not always imply that they have ADHD. However, if you believe that your child's behavior differs from that of other children of their age, you should discuss your concerns with a developmental pediatrician. Or maybe as a teacher, if you notice a different behavior in a particular child in your class, you may talk to their parents. It can be difficult to care for a child with ADHD, but it's crucial to remember that they are unable to control their behavior. Some issues that may arise in day-to-day life include getting the child to sleep at night, getting them ready for school on time, making them listening to and carrying out instructions, making them be organized. It is absolutely difficult for them to behave as per the rules set by the society in social occasions. Shopping can be challenging too. Adults with ADHD may experience comparable issues, and some may experience difficulties with relationships or in social interactions. It is understandable that emotional self-regulation can be a task for a parent, carer, or a teacher who is dealing with a person with ADHD on day-to-day basis. It is extremely important to learn some calming down techniques that the ADHD person and their parent or caregiver or teacher all can practice to keep their calm. I will now introduce you with my guest, Ms. Therese Bosshardt, who is an established educational trainer from Arizona in the United States and also the president of Empowering Steps LLC. Therese is the best person to talk about the need of emotional regulations in ADHD persons and their parent, carer, or teacher. Therese, being a teacher or a carer of a child with ADHD is quite difficult and taxing. How do you think parents, carers, or the teachers can help the child as well as themselves to keep calm and take care of their emotional well-being?
So, Manobina, I'd like to begin with discussing emotional competence and why emotions are so important. When we are a parent of a neurodiverse child or a caregiver or a teacher, it is primarily the emotion that gets out of balance when it's either the adult or the child. So the best thing for us to start to do is to actually connect with the children. So when we teach them emotional competence, they will show more pro-social behavior, improve physical health, better attention skills, and their popularity will increase. Okay, so we need to calm down that emotion that's sending everybody into a state of, it's trauma. It's basically trauma. And we found out with a lot of neurodiverse children, as well as adults, we have trauma happening when a child can't get their information out that they need to get to people. So I'd like to discuss, so we're on the same page, what actually is an emotion. It's the mental and physiological state that's associated with a wide variety of feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. Emotion are subjective experiences or experienced from an individual point of view. So as a neurodiverse child tries to give us information, it's very difficult for them to be able to tell us something. And so they emotionally might start screaming and yelling. ADHD kids, autistic kids, children on the spectrum. And that will also send the adult that's caring for them, or the instructor, or the parent, also in an emotional confusion or an emotional state. Okay? So what we want to do then is we want to be able to calm that emotion. But they are very important, so we cannot ignore them. Okay? They determine what we care about and what motivates us. So we really need emotions, and we need to balance them because they're our helper. They're the human person's helper. So without emotions, life would lack meaning and purpose. But an unbalanced emotion is very, very uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for the caregivers as well as the child. As we go through these things, emotions can deplete our energy, such as emotions such as fear, frustration, impatience, disappointment, resentment, and anxiety. And if you think about it, these neurodiverse individuals see disappointment a lot because they cannot connect with who they need to connect to. They cannot figure out what they're feeling or what's going on. So what we're going to do is we're going to teach the child how to explain emotion. How are they feeling at the moment? So that we get to a point where we're energy renewing ourselves. So we feel more resilient. We feel more positive. The caregiver, the teacher, as well as the child. So we want to teach, and we want them to feel courage and honor and hope from being respected, from being heard, from being understood. And it takes time. It's not an easy thing. And what I'm showing you today, they are small steps, and they will be able to help you put in your particular toolbox to be able to help you to pull out this information when you need it, because every individual is different. Every emotion is different within that individual. And if you are neurodiverse, a caregiver or teacher might not know quite how to get to that, but we're going to talk about that in a minute or so. So we want to have positive and renewing emotions, because then we have access to the parts of our brain that recognize patterns, solve problems, and develop better ways of thinking and acting. So we have to help the child figure out the best way for them to perform at their best, and then the way that we can all support that. So we're going to talk about something called in sync and out of sync. And it's scientific, these are scientific studies that back this, that when we're in the reactive brain, which is just, we don't think of anything, we just react, okay? It's almost like the instinctual brain of an animal. We don't have time to think. And what they've noticed is then the nervous system goes off balance. And so that's when the behavior shows up. But what they found out is when we get to the thinking brain, we can connect the heart to the brain, which will calm down emotional charges. So for instance, let's say the teacher has a problem with the student and the student comes in a room. If you're not able to calm down your emotion, that child will pick up on that. And that's what we're finding is so fascinating about all this, that if as the parent and caregiver, we can calm down, then they will also be able to calm down. Let's talk about the ways we do this. All right. We understand that, especially now in the world, there's a lot going on. And so we really need to get in sync. So with a child, for instance, you breathe, you tell them to breathe in a warm feeling and listen with your heart and say what they said so you understand it. It's connecting again, communication. Because if a parent or a teacher feels inadequate or unable to deal with a child, that also shows to the child. So you want to just connect with them, connect with their heart. Okay, so each, the parent and the child will take turns, and they'll take turns connecting with each other. What we're going to talk about right now is a science-backed technique that you can use anytime, any day, anywhere. And it is called the quick coherence technique. And what we do is we focus on the heart. And you teach the child this by saying, as I had mentioned before, you can put your hand on your heart, or you can just breathe into your heart. So now you imagine that your thought is to your heart. It's not in your brain where these looping thoughts are saying, I'm not good enough, nobody's listening to me. We're taking that out and we're breathing slowly to the count of 5 into the heart. And you keep this up in a slow, focused breath, breathing in to the count of 5 and out to the count of 5. And as you do this, then you think of a positive or renewing feeling. And you can help your child do this. I mean, we have studies that show that a mother holding a child, the heart and brain connection is so strong, and it can actually be measured. So we do, as teachers and caregivers and parents, we have that ability to calm down an emotion that's out of whack. And this is just one of the techniques. And I would suggest you practice it before, because you want to not try to do this when there's screaming and yelling going on. It doesn't work that way. But as you do this and practice it when there's no emotional charge, you can calm down yourself so that the child calms down as well.
Thank you so very much, Therese. Friends, I'm sure you had an enriching experience listening to Therese today. I will see you next week in the 32nd episode of Let's Talk Inclusion. Till then, take care and goodbye.